2, 3, 4. Check. 1, 2.
That's it.
All right.
Ready? All right, here we go. Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective.
At long last, we are here.
We are here.
Hey, Edward, guess what day it is? I'm like the camel from the Geico commercial. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Mike,
Tell me.
It's Ellen Adair Day.
No.
I'm very excited.
Not the baseball aficionado, Ellen Adair.
Yes, and star of small and big screen, actress Ellen Adair will join us on the program. And boy, does she know baseball.
All right, hopefully I won't be too embarrassed talking to her about that.
Well,
we both you and I know a lot about baseball.
Well, prepare to be humbled.
Okay, that's all right. All right, and that voice, well, first of all, I'm Edward Brown. My co-host is Vern Glenn from CBS affiliate KPIX-TV in San Francisco. Unfortunately, Bruce can't be with us today. He's going to miss this show.
Oh, boy.
I know he's sad about that. And at each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. And since Ellen Adair, who, again, is an actress, but also a baseball aficionado, is going to be on the air, to be our guest, we are going to have the trivia theme of literature about baseball.
Ooh, well, she might take that.
She might take that. We'd like to be nice to our guests. So anyway, then let's see, Ellen will be with us for a while, and then we're going to go on to other things like Florida State. Did they raise $20 million in private donations to buy out Taggart's contract as he was fired after a 4-5 start? Woo. Holy smokes. And then also Packers linebacker Preston Smith. He's buying Rolex watches for the entire defense as he gives credit to all of the defense for helping him reach the sacks. I like that. He had 10 sacks. That's the way to do it, right? It's not a one-man show.
No, not at all.
Sacks, you got to look at all your defense, your quarterbacks, everybody.
This is the time of the year where it's got to be moving day for some of these teams if they are going to go the distance deep into the season.
Okay. And this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, still providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding over 7.5%, secured by real estate. It doesn't get any more conservative than that. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. All right. So now,
good.
She is going to call in.
And then, do you want me to bring her in, or are you going to bring? How are you going to do it?
I'll do a quick something and let you introduce her.
Okay.
How's that?
Cool.
All right. So like this, save as. Come on. All right. So.
You know about the Giants' new general manager, right?
No, who did they bring in?
They hired the guy yesterday. His name is Scott Harris. He's a young guy. He's a kid. I don't even think he even shaves. But he was an assistant general manager from the Chicago Cubs. They're having a press conference today, bringing him in.
All right.
So Farhan Zaidi hired him. They don't have a manager yet. They may by the time this show airs on Saturday.
Yeah.
But at least they got a GM in place.
And Farhan.
He's a local guy too.
Wait, wasn't so Farhan is
Farhan,
excuse me, is the president then? I mean,
Farhan Zaidi is the president of baseball operations.
Okay, so he hired.
So he was entrusted to hire a general manager,
and
then they go and hire a manager.
Gotcha. Because
between the three of them, using baseball analytics or whatever, they will come up with the day-to-day lineup and the strategy. So yeah, they will use their math, whatever, to manage the game. So as opposed to the old school grizzled, I got a hunch.
Sometimes you had to go with those hunches, though. You know,
hey, Smokey, grab a bat.
You feeling good today, Smokey?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
yeah, well, because that whole thing, you know, you got to go with the guys who brung you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but not if the guy's got a broken leg or if he's just in a bad slump. Come on.
Right.
That's what I appreciate about managers who go with, go with the hot bat until it's not hot anymore. I keep thinking about like Sparky Anderson. He was known for having a quick hook, they call it. Keep him in there, but if he doesn't look like he's pitching well, get him out of there. Okay, she should be calling in in just a momento.
Mm-hmm. I think she's got some takes on Gabe Kapler, too.
Okay.
Who's one of the 3 managerial finalists for the Giants.
Ah. Aha. Would this be Ellen Adair?
It is indeed.
Oh, what a pleasure to have
fabulous.
you on. Thank you very much for blessing us with your presence.
Oh, well, it remains to be seen whether it's a blessing.
Okay. Well, I'm Edward Brown. I know you know Vern via Twitter and all that other fun stuff.
What do you say there, Ellen? All right. It's finally happening.
It is.
Are you ready to go?
Sure.
All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn. And on the phone, we're going to introduce her as baseball aficionado Ellen Adair. And, oh, by the way, she just happens to be an actress. How's that?
Yeah, and how is it? Is actor, actress, what's your take on that?
I prefer actor.
Okay.
Gender neutral term.
That'll work.
Now, Ellen, you know, you're
Doesn't bother me.
most people know you as an actor, but you know, I figured I'd introduce you, since this is a sports show, as you're kind of our baseball analyst.
Yeah, pretty much. Analyst, enthusiast, whatever. I mean, you've seen you see the picture. She's at games. She's got posters. She's wearing swag. She knows lineup. She knows strategy, and it's just it fuels me to see her excitement for the game.
Yeah, well, what I call it is an unhealthy love of baseball that I have on my business cards, rather than like specifying baseball aficionado versus baseball analyst. But yeah, I'm happy to fill any of those holes.
Yeah, okay, I'll get into this real quick for the folks that are wondering just what the connection is. So several months ago, now when I'm not doing sports on the air, I binge watch. You know, whether I'm doing the dishes, whatever. So I'm flipping around and I'm looking for a show to watch. So I stumble on a show called The Center. It's season 2. And you know, I'm watching, okay, all right, and then there's this great death in this show, and I, you know, I mean, this wasn't like, oh, let's just take a little sip of tea and just crumble to the floor. Ellen just stretched it out. It was well over a minute that it took her to die, and I was just so blown away. I reached out to her on Twitter.
That's because they put the real hemlock in there, right?
I don't know.
No acting was required.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I was really blown away by it, and she was nice enough to respond. And I guess here we are in 2019. I would guess we would call this a digital correspondence that we've had, because we've never met. I mean, this is our first conversation on the air.
There you go.
It's true. It's crazy, but I'm so grateful.
So, you know that you were on MLB Network, kind of giving the explanation, but why don't you give us, on Sports Econ 101, a little background as to why you're such a big baseball fan?
Where did the love affair ignite?
Lifelong love affair, and basically I was raised on baseball. My parents, I'm from Philadelphia, and my parents brought me to Phillies games basically from as long as I can remember. And I have all kinds of theories now about why I have an unhealthy love of baseball, why it has continued in my life. And I think that, you know, the short version of that is that it's nice to have something that's not acting that I also really love, you know what I mean, that's sort of totally separate from my career. And at the same time, I think it's that nothing reminds me of acting as much as baseball. They just seem really similar. And so I'm always watching I'm always watching the game with a lot of empathy for the drama of it for the players.
That's a little escape for you too, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
And why do you say unhealthy? There's nothing unhealthy about baseball, by the way. Baseball is life, but go ahead.
I guess it's just that I think it's not always totally healthy for my emotional life. The amount that I am invested in it. Yeah.
And aren't there story? I believe there's one story out there. Maybe was it one of your first games? I mean, you were an infant, and then you were bam. You're on the jumbotron, and then things just kind of evolved from there. Where your I guess your passion for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah. Well, I have no memory of this. Because I don't know, like 1.5 years old,
Sure.
and B, because I was asleep, and according to my mom, they just showed me sleeping in her arms on the jumbotron in the early days of the jumbotron, and everybody went, ah. But yeah, that's all hearsay as far as I'm concerned.
And then out here, because we're doing the show here in Northern California, the San Francisco Bay Area, where we have two baseball teams, the Giants and the A's, and through our back and forth through social media, the discovery of your allegiance to the Oakland A's, the green and gold.
I love the Oakland Athletics so much. I just really love this group of guys.
Yeah, I was wondering if it had to do with the fact that they used to play in Philadelphia many years.
That's right, Philadelphia A's.
People have asked that, and it doesn't have anything to do with that. I mean, maybe ever so slightly, but yeah, it has mostly to do with just my affection for this current group of players. Although, I've always liked the A's in general, so maybe it has something to do with it. Yeah, I have a particular crush on the corner infield Matt.
Matt Olson and Matt Chapman.
Yeah, the Matt. When I saw them play this year, which unfortunately the only time I saw them was when I was in Seattle, but I brought a sign for them that says, "I love you, Matt," and then an apostrophe or parentheses around the S. So
right.
Love you, Matt.
No, that's cute.
Well, one of these days we got to get you to an A's game. I mean, that would be. Now I don't have the juice that Fran Charles has with MLB, but if you get out here to Oakland, I can arrange a chance meeting with you and both Matts if you'd like.
Oh my God, I died.
That's great. I love that.
Well, she is a Philly fanatic, and thank God she does not look like the Philly fanatic.
Yeah.
But getting back to your boys, Ellen. I mean, it was a season that had so much hope, and we'll get into Gabe Kapler in just a little bit because he's one of the three candidates for the Giants managerial job. But in your estimation, kind of where in the world did it go south?
I don't exactly know, and I think that's unfortunately Gabe Kapler ended up being the sort of the scapegoat for that, which I don't totally agree with the fact that it was his fault. On the other hand, I agree that they had to change something else, and it's easier to change the manager than it is to change the entire team of players, which I'm not advocating for because I love most of them. So, yeah, they're in a tough spot, I feel like, this off season because they have so many spots that they need to fill. I feel like they need 2 starting pitchers and they need an entire bullpen worth of relief pitchers since they're losing Pat Neshek, Tommy Hunter, and Juan Nicasio to free agency, which is like, that's fine. Like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. And the fate of Sir Anthony Dominguez and Adam Morgan due to injury is a little unclear. They could, use third baseman. So they have deep pockets, but they don't have infinite pockets before they bump up against the luxury tax. And that's something that I think they're not interested in doing until they're pretty sure that their team is going to win the World Series. So, yeah, it's, I feel like everything that I hear about what the Phillies are going to do is all like, oh, well, they're just going to go out and sign Garrett Cole and Anthony Rendon, and then also another pitcher, and then these couple of relief pitchers, and they can't do that without going over the luxury tax.
Yeah, especially with $330 million invested in one guy on a 13-year contract.
Yeah, although because it's a 13-year contract, the AAV is actually not bad on that deal. And
look at you, look at you, Miss General Manager. Look at you.
Exactly.
That's great.
Is that going to be your next career? Yeah.
it's no, I don't think so. I don't think I'd be very good at it. I have enough agita in being the general manager of my fantasy baseball team.
Yeah. Hey, Ellen, stay with us a second. We got to go to a commercial break, and in honor of you being on the show here, we decided to. Our trivia theme is literature and baseball.
Oh.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a trivia question. If you know the answer, don't say it yet.
Yeah, don't bark it out.
Yeah, when we come back from break, then we'll let you answer it. Okay. Here we go. Which writer spent the last year of Ty Cobb's life with him and later wrote a 420-page biography of Cobb? Mm-hmm. Who was the writer? Mm-hmm. All right.
No hints? No.
Well, I'll tell you, they did make a movie.
They made a movie. Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
And if you remember, I'll even tell you, it was Tommy Lee Jones played Ty Cobb.
Okay. All right.
All right. That's our trivia question. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with our special guest, Ellen Adair. All right, so that's our little segment there. Cool. Thank you. How much time can you spend with us?
I'm as much as you want.
Wow.
Okay, we only have about 3 days worth of
recording. You never, and I, living in the television world, I mean, I'm dealing with, the 25-year-old nervous producer with the headset and the walkie-talkie. They bring you on over and they go, you have 5 minutes. Yeah. And then when you get to about the 4-minute mark, off camera, you see them waving their finger, giving you the rap sign. So I'm like, so for an actor to say that, that's a treat.
I appreciate that.
I mean, I'm aware that the show is only an hour, so so yes, I guess I didn't assume that it was going to be more than an hour.
No. We're not going to be that.
Oh no! Oh my gosh!
We're only going to be about 20-something minutes or so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we really appreciate you being on.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, man. This really boosts the show. Gives us some panache.
Well, we've had a lot of famous people on. In fact, I got. Let's see. Before we go back, I'll tell you this quick little story that you may appreciate since you're a big baseball fan. So I'm almost 60, and when I was 14, my mom's great uncle came to visit us. So that's 1974. I've told this story to Vern on the air before. And he smoked a big cigar and ate Limburger cheese at the same time. Totally the most disgusting thing you've ever seen, right? He sees me looking at an old baseball book of old players. And he goes, "Hey, Eddie, you like baseball?" I said, "Yeah, I love baseball." And he said, "You know anything about old baseball?" And he goes, "Yeah, well, I'm looking through this old book and seeing all these old players." And he goes, "You ever heard of Hans Wagner?" I said, "You mean Hannes Wagner?" He goes, "Yeah, we used to call him Hans." He goes, "I used to watch him play in Pittsburgh." I mean, he used to.
Wow, he had that kind of accent. Wow.
Yeah. He was an old guy, and he used to watch Hannes Wagner play. Isn't that crazy?
Dang, that is.
Okay, I thought you'd appreciate that being a baseball fan.
I do. I love that story.
Okay. All right, you ready? Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and our special guest, baseball aficionado and actor Ellen Adair. All right, first trivia question was, which writer spent the last year of Ty Cobb's life with him and later wrote a 420-page biography of Cobb? And as a reminder, Tommy Lee Jones played Ty Cobb in the movie Cobb. Who was the writer?
Ellen,
Ellen,
you want to take a stab at it?
I have no idea. No, I have no idea.
Al Stump.
Very bad at trivia.
Oh, Al Stump.
Al Stump.
Yeah, and I can't remember the actor who played Al Stump. I have to look it up. But okay. All right, so Ellen Adair is joining us on Sports Econ 101. Vern, take it away.
Yeah, I had some questions, Ellen. I mean, I brought up Gabe Kapler before, one of the 3 managerial candidates for the San Francisco Giants. Just kind of following the Phillies as closely as you do, I didn't know maybe if you had a take on this kind of guy, on if maybe he's the kind of guy that maybe the Giants should go after. I mean, I know he interviewed with the Cubs, but this is especially with bringing in a new general manager, Farhan Zaidi, the president of baseball operations, went in and hired a fellow by the name of Scott Harris, who was the assistant general manager to Epstein with the Cubs. So he's having his press conference at Giants headquarters later on, but and then they will hire a manager subsequently on the heels of that. But Gabe Kapler, you got to take one way or another on him.
Well, I mean, I think my main take on Gabe Kapler is that I wish him well, and I think he could be a good manager, and so I'm sort of rooting for him to get the job, I guess. I know that it's sort of convenient that Scott Harris, I think, interviewed Kapler when he was still in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I also know that I think it sounds like Joe Espada is more the front runner for the Giants job right now. But yeah, I think that Kapler is very smart, and I think that he's a good communicator. And I know that I didn't personally talk to the players about it, but I heard that the players really liked playing with him. And I am totally aware that some of that feeling that I have could be that I met him and he was really exceptionally nice to me, and it really felt like he was actually listening to the totally stupid things that I was saying, which, lots of times you meet famous people and this is sort of a pro forma conversation, and that's very pleasant and nothing against that. So I think, I just want to have that sort of proviso that I think that colors the way that I feel about him. And I think a lot of the sort of problem that he encountered in Philadelphia was just that, like, people never liked him here, and I think, in my opinion, they didn't like him for stupid reasons.
Okay.
They didn't like him because he just seems like such a California guy and not a Philly guy.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't like him because he has, like, a lifestyle blog and, he looks like a Ken doll, which is fine. And not for some of the reasons that I think might have been fair to have been prejudiced against him. If, for example, people are concerned about the fact that he's sort of mishandled the assault allegations when he was the Dodgers director of player development and, a couple of minor league players. I mean, to be clear, he never heard that there was any sort of a sexual assault. He heard that these two women had beat up this other woman while in the presence of some Dodgers minor leaguers, and he thought that he dealt with that appropriately. And it wasn't until later that the victim said that there had been a sexual assault as well. And he says if he had known that, he would have dealt with it very differently.
Oh,
and I mean, he definitely mishandled it, no question. But I also actually take him at his word that that was what happened. And I think that if anything, if just happening, I think there's no way that he isn't so scared by that incident that he will not, make sure to do everything as swiftly and as above board as possible in the future. Not that I'm saying that makes it okay, but I don't, just to finish my point, sorry, I don't think that that's why Philly fans didn't like him. I don't think they knew about that. I think they just didn't like him because they just decided that they didn't like him. And that sort of made it hard for him to succeed in Philadelphia.
Well, in a market like this, which is vastly different from Philadelphia, it is a market where if you win, then that just kind of takes care of everything else. It's not the deep rooted sports strong out of the Philadelphia, Chicago, New York. It's a little softer out here. So if Gabe can take over and win and have guys buy into his and Farhan Zaidi's vision and Scott Harris's vision, then I think everything will just take care of itself, because the Giants do have 3 World Series championships to kind of rest their head on, and that's going to buy you a lot of time.
Yeah, it's true. And, I mean, absolutely no offense to the San Francisco Giants, but they're not necessarily in win now mode, and
right.
Expectations might be a little lower.
Right. I'm curious, are you an old school baseball type, or are you more of this analytics, play the numbers, cybermetrics, money ball, go with the extreme ship kind of person?
I'm probably more the latter than the former.
Okay.
Although I think that eventually baseball will end up in a sort of a middle ground, and that the two sides don't have to fight each other. You know, balance to win baseball.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Vern earlier when we were talking about, the analytics, and it's like sometimes, you got to go just with what the hot bat is.
Go with the hot bat?
Yeah.
Or go with the hunch?
Go with the hunch.
Right,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. In fact, you had, being a Philadelphia fan, you've had a couple of good seasons, but gosh, going back when you were a kid, they weren't that good, were they? Didn't you have some kind of hard knocks going on there?
Well, they won a World Series early 80s.
Before. Well, that's true, but I mean, I don't know.
They went to the series in 1993.
Yeah.
That was a formative moment for me. Like, I loved that team of guys, and people were on the streets of Philadelphia yelling, "We're number 2" afterwards.
And
in 2008, didn't they go back in 2008?
Yeah, well, they won it all.
They beat the Rays then. Who did they lose to? It was the Yankees?
The Blue Jays. They lost to the Yankees in 2009.
Oh, that's right. Mitch Williams. Yeah, gotcha.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, you must have been walking on air in 08 when they won it.
I was, yeah, I really was. Unfortunately, I was doing a show in D.C. at the time, so I was not in Philadelphia. But my mom was at the final game, that 2-part final game. So,
speaking of show, I'm curious, how do you balance your fandom with your, I guess, day-to-day career? Well, I mean, it's not. It's how do I put it? I mean, you have to be on set and you have to be in character. I mean, it's like an all-encompassing thing. But if you're doing that, and let's just say a World Series is going on at the same time, and it's got to be kind of maybe in the back of your mind. I'm just curious how you weigh that as a sports baseball enthusiast.
It's hard, but I think, I'm actually pretty good at compartmentalizing, because I think that that's a skill that actors have to have, where they're like, this thing that exists in front of me is the only thing that exists. You have to be able to do that if you're going to, ignore the fact that there's a camera in your face, for example. So I think that the way that I have, if I've been doing a show or something during the World Series, which has happened to me so many times, I just, I put blinders on, and I don't look at my phone, and everybody knows not to tell me any spoilers, and I go home and I start watching it when I get home, even if it's sort of late. So I'm always trying to, I live a lifetime of trying to avoid spoilers, even if that's just the middle of the season and, I'm working or I'm doing anything else during game time. I know that I'm going to watch that game later, and I'm studiously trying to.
I had to do the same thing with our other co-hosts here, mostly Bruce, sometimes Vern, because sometimes I can't watch the game live, and so I'll record it. And it was especially during the Warrior games. And every once in a while, my phone would go off with a text, and I'd read it, and suddenly I'm reading these texts and going, "No, stop telling me that!" So I had to turn the phone
Can
off.
You believe that?
No, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a win!
Well, I had to pull the old Homer Simpson.
Exactly. Hey, back to you, Ellen, as we start to segue more into your career and what you got, going on. I'm a little biased, okay? I think you're a summer or a holiday blockbuster away from being an everyday household name. I mean, that's how I feel about your acting prowess. But you've been in some of the biggest monumental shows that are out there. I mean, Billions, Homeland. I mean, I mentioned the Sinner, Nurse Jackie, and you're in this slasher movie, Trick.
Well, wait, and Ellen, hold on a second. Our studio is saying we have to cut the break. We're going to have you answer that question when we come back. All right.
All right. More on Ellen's career on the other side.
On the other side. Okay. Second trivia question: which colorful former umpire wrote about his umpiring experiences in the entertaining book The Umpire Strikes Back. Not a Star Wars.
That's the name of the book. The Umpire Strikes Back.
I like that. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. All right. You know how it is. They get these hard breaks on the station because actually they say we're actually international because it's Armed Forces Radio hears us too. So based on the clock, they give us very, very specific hard breaks.
Yes. I mean, I don't have a ton of experience with that. I guess on MLB Network, I had some experience with that. Although, in that instance, I could also see the people waving to be like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. See, I'm flying this piece of paper in front of her.
They're yelling in Fran's earpiece or Matt Vasgersian or whoever's up there. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are pretty good guys. I know those guys. They're really good guys, especially Fran.
Yeah, Fran is such a good guy. I did not meet Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fran was just the kindest.
Yeah, Vasgersian's a Bay Area guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Vernon Glenn and our special guest, Ellen Adair. Second trivia question. Which colorful former umpire wrote about his umpiring experiences in the entertaining book, The Umpire Strikes Back?
Wow.
I don't know.
No.
Trivia.
Ron Luciano.
Luciano
wrote that book.
I bet he's got some stories.
I'm sure he does.
Oh yeah.
The Umpire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Speaking of umpires, Ellen, here.
Strike back?
Say again.
I said, doesn't the umpire always strike back?
Oh yeah. Well, he's the law.
Yeah.
He's the law. Hey, speaking of umpires, Ellen, how do you feel about the push? Again, I know they're trying it at the minor league level for these robotic strike zone machines.
Oh, I feel like it would be great if maybe the umpires could have that information. So I think you still need a person there rather than just having a robot ump. I think like having a person being able to use that technology would be good, is my opinion.
Well, the managers also, if they're going to get kicked out of the game, they can't yell at a robot.
Well, sure you can.
Sure you can, yeah. Be a Billy Martin, kick dirt on it.
Yeah. All right, back to you, Ellen, in your career. I mentioned on the big screen the slasher movie Trick. I mean, we're now in a period where a whole bunch of horror theme slasher are starting to come up. But Trick, I believe, was the first to really kind of get the ball rolling for 2019. How fun was that project? And just what are your remembrances of working with Omar Epps and the rest of the gang?
Oh gosh, it was so much fun. I really, really loved working on that film. Working with Omar was great. The director is just like the smartest, most positive person, like the combination of those two things. And yeah, it was just great fun for me. I often play sort of like white collar people who wear suits, lawyers and, chiefs of staff and that kind of thing. So it was really fun to get to put on a uniform instead of a suit, to play a sheriff and have like action sequences and stuff. It was a ball.
Hey, as your star continues to rise, I mean, you're terrific character actor, but I have a feeling maybe now you can still go to the 7-Eleven and pick up milk and not be stopped. Yeah, but I mean, but the more visible you become, I don't know how comfortable you feel being approached, going, hey, I really admire your work. I mean, how do you handle all of that?
Oh my God, I mean, it doesn't happen to me that often, but when it does, I'm like, hey, thanks.
Vern, that happens to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think what actors sometimes mind is when people are just like, I recognize you.
Right.
And they're not like, you were great. They're just like, I've seen your face.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah.
Great. But that actually hasn't happened to me, and I don't know if it's just because I'm certainly not famous for it to happen often. So when people do recognize me, they're like, oh, you were in The Sinner, or you were on Homeland or something. Or actually, it's usually a question. They're like, were you on The Sinner? I'm like, yes, that's me. So, and then when I answer that question, usually they're not like, huh. Usually they're like, you were great. And then I can say, thank you. And it's like a, nice interaction.
Well, people come up to my wife and say, wait, aren't you Edward Brown's husband? And she says, why? Does he owe you money?
That's very funny.
Hey, for the listener out there that just really doesn't know anything about, making movies or the process, just curious, how long does it take to actually film a movie?
Oh, God.
Well, it really varies. It depends on, honestly, the budget of the film, and it depends on how complicated the film is.
Mm-hmm.
So Trick is 90 minutes, and we shot for 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Okay.
And could probably have used 5 weeks, I think, if there had been a little bit more money for more time.
I'm going to guess now. A lot of it has to do with the producer and the director, because in 1991 I was asked to be an extra for a dance sequence in a Hallmark Hall of Fame movie with Mark Harmon, right, and Tippi Hedren, and
Tippi Hedren,
yeah,
Hubba Hubba.
Yeah, exactly.
Alfred Hitchcock's The Bird.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we did it at the Filoli Mansion, in the Mountain View or whatever. And the thing is, this was literally like an all-day scene, right? I mean, it ended up showing up maybe 2 minutes on the screen, and it was this producer director who had all the money in the world, and his parents just basically trust fund baby or whatever, and so he just kind of wasted as much time as he could.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking, for a 90-minute film to only be doing 4 or 5 weeks actually seems really short.
Do you favor do you favor a project that may take a month to shoot versus say like a 22 episode arc series that may last an entire season?
I would definitely rather do a 22 episode arc season. I just like acting, and so the more days that I can do it, the better is my attitude.
So what have you got? Can you share with us anything that you might have in the hopper?
Well, I am on an episode of the CBS show Bull. Starring
Michael Weatherly.
Yes,
yeah.
Indeed. He's a lovely human being. And that is going to be airing next Monday, actually.
Oh, next Monday. Okay, great. All right.
Well, I'll look for that.
I'll definitely mark that one. That's great. That's great. Because as an actor, you always want to have something cooking. I mean, you want to boom, project to project to project to project, right?
That's the dream.
Right.
How it happened, but yeah, that's the dream.
Well, at least in between projects, you always have baseball to fall back on.
I do, except for in the off season.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm obviously enough of a fan that I'm interested in the off season machinations. I'm like, oh, the GM meeting for this week. So yeah. But yeah, it's not the same. It doesn't fill me the same way.
I think Rogers Hornsby said that the only thing he does during the wintertime is just look out the window, wait for baseball to start again.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I was interviewed for Baseball Perspectives, and I said that in the off season I am the human embodiment of that famous Rogers Hornsby quote, sex will wistful picture of the ball in the dew-flecked grass. Because yeah.
Of all the actors out there, I gotta believe. I mean, you are uniquely qualified to be part of a baseball themed project. Edward, you and we should work on a screenplay.
Yeah.
Where we develop a character for Ellen.
Okay.
Totally
done. Done.
Done and done. Sure.
I like it. And you had some notes here. Remember, you wanted to ask her that question.
What was the question? Oh yeah. This was my if Ellen was Rob Manfred of the commissioner of baseball, what might be one or two things that you would indoctrinate throughout the league?
Oh my God, one or two things.
Okay, 10 or 20.
10 or 20.
All right.
I can see Ellen showing up with the scroll going, I have a few things, and then she unravels it, and it goes all the way across the room.
Yeah. So number one is that I would speed up instant replay. If you can't tell that the call should be overturned in 60 seconds, then the call stands.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, put a clock on it.
believe, and this is probably more controversial, but I believe that like a tiny little sliver of daylight of somebody coming off of the bag of a stolen base shouldn't count as an out. Like if you can't see the person come off the bag with the naked eye and they beat the throw to the bag, they're safe.
That's a good one, because otherwise these guys get hurt.
Right.
You know, I mean, they slide right over, and unless they come way off the bag.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I feel like it means that there's fewer stolen bases because guys know I could beat the throw to the bag and still be out just as I'm sliding through the bag. And I think that that's dumb, and I love stolen bases. And I love watching stolen bases, and I don't want them to be on the decline. So that's one, or sort of 1.5. One thing that I feel very strongly about, I wrote an article about it, is that I would change the punishment under the domestic violence and child abuse policy to include, rather than just a suspension, which I'm in favor of, but to include that like a percentage of whatever that player might earn throughout the rest of their major league career would sort of be tithed from their salary and instead go to charities that help victims of abuse.
Yeah.
Man, Commissioner Adair is on point.
I like that.
So that like if you had a person who had alleged domestic abuse on your team, you could be like, right, but my team, by employing this player, is like mandatedly sending money also to a charity. And that I think also there should be some sort of like positive event every year that is like, remember that this part of this person's salary is going to this charity, and isn't that great? Just so that we remember, because to me it's distressing that it's just not remembered, and I don't think that players should be stripped of their livelihood, because I think that it actually creates a lot of problems for potentially escalating the violence if the players know that much is necessarily at stake. Anyway, so
that's a really good point. Especially, it's like when people get divorced and they have kids. I mean, you got to pay child support for 18 years or whatever it is.
Right.
It's almost the same sort of thing. I like that, because, like you said, it puts it in the forefront.
Yeah. I just don't want it to be allowed to like slip to the background, basically.
Yeah.
And that by continuing to play, then they could add positive visibility to the issue.
Now we should take the last 2 minutes of the show and send it to Rob Manfred.
Yeah.
How does that go? Just play this.
Here's
just a few suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Well, I certainly have more ideas, but if we're out of time, those are the two that I probably feel the most passionately about.
Well, now if it happens, we know who to give credit to.
That's right.
That's it. Well, Ellen Adair, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Econ 101. We are definitely going to have you back more when the season starts again.
Yeah, Ellen, this has been a real treat for me. I really appreciate you taking your time. And hey, we're gonna look for Bull next Monday on CBS.
That's
Yeah. Hey, continued success, and I'll probably hit you sooner than later, digitally.
All right. Thanks again, Ellen, for joining us.
All right. My pleasure.
Take care. All right. That was Ellen Adair, actor. It's so weird. It's still hard to say actor for a woman, but that's what she wants.
It's 2019 now. Hey, they are an actor.
It's interchangeable.
Yep.
Okay. Well, boy, she definitely knows her baseball.
I told you.
You told me. You told me.
She even writes poetry. She posts poetry on her Twitter page. She really is an interesting read.
Okay. Here's our last trivia question here. Which boy of summer sued the Dodgers because they released him while he was hurt without paying him for the rest of the year as required by the standard player contract? Okay, so he's one of the boys of summer, so that would have been the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Right.
So you have to guess which one, and you'll know.
All right, ask it again.
Okay, which boy of summer sued the Dodgers because they released him while he was hurt without paying him for the rest of the year as required by the standard player contract?
Okay.
That's our trivia question, all right? Email Edward at sportsecon101.com, the answer to that question. And again, Ellen Adair, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Econ 101. Stay with us. We're going to have some closing comments when we come back. Okay.
All right.
Good. That was great.
Yeah, I knew she'd be good.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very, very, she speaks in complete sentences, thought-provoking. I just knew she was going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have her information, so would you thank her from both of us?
Yeah. I'll hit her on Twitter. I'll DM her, and yeah. And then you said, so the show next Saturday at 2:00 our time.
No, 1:00 our time.
1:00 our time. To see it or hear it or both?
Well, the YouTube will be up pretty soon.
If you send me the link,
okay.
I will post the link on Twitter with a picture of her.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Just to just go, hey, and then I will tag her.
Okay.
On the tweet, so she'll be able to just check it out herself.
Okay, and then for listening, like to hear the entire show, Sports Byline USA on Saturday at 1. You can go online and then you can listen live. And eventually I'll have
whichever station carries Sports Byline USA in their market, right?
Yeah, but it depends on when they play it. At least here you can listen quote live by going online. Sports Byline.
What
USA.
about what if you're in Los Angeles where she is?
She can still go to sportsbylineusa.com and do the listen live. Yeah. And then eventually when they send me the file next week, it'll get on Sports Econ 101 and it'll stay up there.
So Sports Byline USA has a website. You go to the website, click listen now.
Yeah.
Okay, and you'll be able to do that as early as Saturday at 1
p.m. Yeah. Okay. And then she'll hear the whole show.
It's just info that I'll just pass on to
her.
You know. And then with the link. Okay. All right.
Good stuff. Like it. All right. Bruce will have to listen and then see what he missed.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, ready? Let's close this out. Here we go. Hold on. Oh, something very odd is going on here. Hold on, folks.
Gremlins in the machine.
Whoa. Weird. Okay, hold on. Very odd. Very odd. Okay, I don't know why that happened, but that's all right. Good thing I saved the file. All right. Okay. And away we go. Oops. All right. Ready, go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and Ellen Adair she joined us for the whole show. Loved it. Good job. Okay, here's our third trivia question we asked before we cut the break. Which boy of summer sued the Dodgers because they released him while he was hurt without paying him for the rest of the year as required by the standard player contract?
My first guess is Gino Simoli.
No.
Former Brooklyn Dodger. He was an outfielder.
Okay. All right. No, this guy's a little bit more. He's a little bit more well known.
Well, known than Gino Simoli.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, not Pee Wee Reese.
No. Carl Furillo.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. That's weird. I don't know how they got away with not paying if it's part of the standard contract.
I don't know.
Of course, back then it was kind of the Wild West. Wild West of baseball. All right.
This was written in pencil.
Yeah, that's it. Disappearing ink.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, man, we didn't get a hold of it. Okay, so next week we'll cover Florida State raising $20 million in private donations to buy out Taggart's contract.
And maybe next week there will be a new number one in college football because, boy,
LSU,
on the heels of this past weekend, man, LSU reigning supreme in the heart of Dixie and the fourth-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions getting bumped off. So.
Things are changing.
Yep.
All right, ready? Here's our thoughts for the day. Earl Weaver, you remember him, right?
Sure, number 4, Baltimore Orioles. Yep.
He said the key to winning baseball games is pitching, fundamentals, and 3-run homers.
Okay. The 3-run Jimmy Jack.
that'll help quite a bit. And another Earl Wilson, said a baseball game is simply a nervous breakdown divided into 9 innings. I can see that. Can you imagine? These managers, No wonder. Was it Dave Martinez had how many heart attacks or strokes?
Yeah.
You know,
A nervous breakdown, broken up into 9 innings.
Yeah.
That's baseball.
Funny, but boy, it is a little nerve-wracking. And it's funny because there's no time in baseball, right? As compared to
no clock.
Basketball, no clock.
No clock.
Kind of funny. All right, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long. All right. Good show.
All right.
Jolly good show.
Lovely.
Number 5.
Okay.
I know. It's fine. Last night I finally got a good night's sleep. I've been just up all kinds of weird hours, traveling and all kind of fun stuff.
I have this annoying habit now. Of one of these several times that guy my age has to get up and tinkle in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I have this habit now of just grab my phone and then just surfing, just Facebook.
At nighttime while you're in the bathroom?
Yeah, no. When I come out of the bathroom and I'm going back to bed, the phone's like right there, so I'm charging. Let's just see what's going on.
No, that'll.
20 minutes later, I'm like, all right, I got to get to sleep now.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I don't, take the phone to the bathroom, but not in the middle of the night.
Right.
And even then, because how do you get back to sleep?
Oh yeah. I mean,
can you get right back?
I get right back.
Oh, okay. Well,
unless there's
something really exciting.
Something's really weighing on my mind. Who knows?
So we'll probably do next Monday.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. I do not travel, so I will be around. I think the next weekend I go to New York. Yeah.
Well, that was great. And hey, if you want to get another guest coming on, I always enjoy being on the show.
Every now and then something will fall in my lap, and I just said, hey, you think you might want to, just like, yeah, no problem. So, that's great.
Yeah, it was good too because it wasn't just like she just likes baseball; she knows baseball.
Yeah.
Because you can get a lot of people who like baseball. Let's see here. We have 2 minutes to go on that. All right, sir.
All right, man. Well,
good show. Jolly good show.
Go home and get my honeydew orders and.
Is that always the way it is on the?
Well, it's either clean more out of the garage or whatever. Pick this up.
Yeah, I can't say that.
Let the dog out. I just one thing after another.
Oh yeah.
All right, my man.
All right, sir. Good job.
Love to Eva and
yeah. Tell them they call and said hi. Again, whenever you guys get a chance to go do some dinner, let's do it, baby.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can carve out some time.
Okay.
All right. Leave it open. Close.
You can leave it open.
Keep it open.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. I'm here. I'm trying to get this here.
So Julie and Bill put in a proposal. You saw that for the restaurant. They
No,
are
I didn't.
chomping.
With just what you showed me.
That's all I have. They put a budget together. I chatted with them. We've got to.
Yeah, but Rich is. Rich?
Yeah, he's not responding. I haven't been able to get in touch with him. So it looks like I don't know.
Well, we can't.
So anyway, Julie and Bill, they're gonna put more of a budget together. They said they've got budget projections. They're willing to do some of the work on the exterior and interior.
Well, we got to give Rich like a hey Rich, if we don't get this done by a certain time, we have to move on.
Okay.
Right? I mean, what else can we do?
Okay. Anyway, so there's that. Is this what you want me to send to for the insurance or insurance? You sent me an email.
So Dave, let me just glance at that because Dave wants let's see here. The 19th to 20th. Yes, please. Let's Garber. Yes. Can you scan and email this to me?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Because that way I can give it to Dave. So apparently, I can't remember her name.
I can't either.
Okay. Dave's dad passed on. He was 91.
Okay.
Yeah. So just so we know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I haven't said anything to him.
Okay. So you walked over Michael's check.
Actually, I don't know if he's open today. I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah.
And you got Michael Brown's check, your brother's.
I've got Michael Brown's.
Okay, so everything else is good. I've got a few checks to get out here. Anyway, moving forward with Julie and Bill. So I've got to see if I can get PG&E on in the restaurant so they can walk through and do an assessment of everything in the restaurant. Then they're going to come back with a dollar figure of all the work that needs to get done. Here's the biggest issue that we have. There is that pylon underneath the restaurant. Remember years ago, Marco had his